Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. It is the Agostinho Zinga show with your host, Agostinho Zinga, and this is episode number 887, Ocho Ocho Siete with your host, Agostinho Zinga. What's going on? What's crack-a-lacking? How you feeling? How you doing? Great, amazing. How am I? All good, all things considered, all good, all things considered. It's been a pretty decent weekend, I'm not gonna lie. First pod of the week. Welcome back to the Excellent Zinger Show. I'm feeling fucking good, feeling mighty fine, feeling really strong. I've recovered from my issues. I had some nasal, respiratory, asthma related issues these past couple of days, but I'm back. I'm strong. I'm raring to go. I'm off to the gym later on today. I cannot wait. I'm also doing this thing with the gym where I'm like starting my Monday on the Sunday, if that makes any sense. I know some people have like work days where their Monday is a Sunday, and I'm starting to do that now. So I took one day off yesterday, which was Monday. So I started my workout on the Sunday. So I'm going back again on a Tuesday and then unbroken all the way until fucking Sunday. I'm not sure if people do that or if I'm just making up in my head, but I've been enjoying it. I'm not going to lie. I've been really, 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 really enjoying it. Apart from that, what's been going on? Oh, United won over the weekend. Watched a bit of Playboi Carti. Been banging out the album, and there's some other things I need to talk to you about as well. So locking, get loaded, get hydrated. Another episode of the Random Show. Another episode of the Agostinho Zinga Show is up here. Thank you for joining me. Random Show actually is going to be happening later. So, what do I have to talk about? United beating Leicester 3-0 away from home. Absolutely superb result. Not really too bothered about the performance, even though it was good. We're facing essentially relegation fodder. Kinda. One of the worst teams in the league, unfortunately, for Ruben Nistelrooy, a legend for the club who I absolutely adore, and is still one of my top 5 greatest United players of all time. I absolutely loved his time at United, loved everything he represented, loved that little head-to-head season. He went, basically, machine for machine with flipping Thierry Henry of all people. And if you know anything about Ruben Nistelrooy as a player, he probably doesn't have much on Thierry in terms of skills and whatever it may be, but he was playing at such a level that people were legitimately having those debates about who you prefer, Ruben Nistelrooy or Thierry Henry. So obviously me, I'm biased, but I still think Rude was an all-round complete striker personally, but still, to put that to one side. Victory was really good, especially off the back of the Real Sociedad victory in midweek. International break probably came at the worst time possible for us because it was just gathering some momentum. But the thing to talk about that really stands out in this 3-0 victory, apart from the clean sheet, is of course Rasmus Hojlund finally getting his goal. Rasmus Hojlund finally getting his goal is a great thing for the club, a great thing for the team, a great thing for his confidence. I personally think, this is just my personal opinion as a United fan, that I think this criticism that Hojlund's been getting from the fans, from the media, has been overblown. I understand he's been poor in some places, but we're 15th or 14th in the league. Everybody's been poor. Everyone's been shit, including Bruno Fernandes. No one's been doing well. That's why we're 15th in the league. So I think the criticism that Rasmus Hojlund has been getting has been a bit, over the top, especially when you consider, as a team, I don't think we play to our striker's strengths. That's why Zerski is playing the way he's playing, because he's playing as a number 10 now. But even when he was playing up front, he was still struggling. I just think playing for this United team in this current era we're in, with the players that we currently have in midfield, you're never going to get the best out of the strikers because our midfielders don't always look to find a striker. Our wing backs don't really put good balls into the box. So there's not a consistent way of playing that a striker can be sure they're going to get the ball on their feet. So for the most part, I feel like United strikers, if you look back in the years gone by, they've had to kind of create their own chances. You have to have like a self-sufficient striker that doesn't rely on service, which is really dumb because part of a striker's, modus operandi is like relying on service. Without service, you don't have a striker. And without a striker, you don't have service. So they kind of go hand in hand. But I think if you want to play for this United team, up front, maybe as a senior striker, you have to be the type of striker that can take the ball from the midfield, who can take the ball from the wings, go past 3 players, and rocket it top bins. Not all strikers can do that. Some strikers need chances to fall at their feet. That's why I think a fox in a box, for lack of a better term, will struggle for this United side because we don't offer them any chances. But I do think, especially with Rasmus Hojlund's goal against Leicester, if you look at that run, very easy run, nothing crazy. He didn't bend it super hard. He just ran through the channels and Bruno found him with a ball over the top. I would argue Rasmus Hojlund has been making those runs for the majority of his time at United. He just doesn't get found. If you actually watch the game, I bet you it's more obvious in the stadium. But if you watch the game on TV and you don't follow the ball and you just focus on Rasmus Hojlund up front, you will see that he makes a lot of good runs down the channels, through the lines. He's always making runs, but he never gets found. There's always a hesitancy to find him with the ball. Always a hesitancy. Maybe if he played in the same era that Carrick was around, Rudy was around, he might thrive. But our players are a bit gun shy to pass the ball over the top, down the channel. I'm not sure if this is an instruction for the manager or the coaches, but they don't want to do it. And he relies on that. He doesn't, maybe his greatest strength isn't receiving the ball to feet, because he can. His first touch isn't the greatest sometimes when he's standing still. I think his first touch on the run is pretty decent. I don't think he's good back to goal, but he seems to be making good channels, and he seems to have a good engine on him. For somebody so big, I think Rasmus Hojlund must be like 6'1", 6'2", right? And he's fucking built like a brick shithouse. He's really fucking, he's got a lot of endurance. He's got a lot of, his cardio is pretty decent. He gets up and down, running up the pitch a lot. So you need to find him more often. So I feel like as good as that goal was against Leicester, that first goal was incredibly good. Very, very well taken. It didn't look like the finish of a person who hasn't scored in however long he hasn't scored in. He definitely did dispatch that clinically. I feel like that was an evidence to me that he needs to be found more because he keeps making those runs. Cool. Alejandro Garnacho goal as well, I really did enjoy. The first goal actually I preferred more because Rasmus Hojlund got the assist, but I got ruled out for the offside. I also think the Garnacho goal, like, it's going to go down as a Bruno assist, but that's what I mean about statistics and assist and numbers and shit. Watch the football with your eyes, because Bruno, I don't think has been that great personally. He's been more disciplined. He's getting the numbers, the statistic, because he scored a hat-trick in the Europa League, you know, whatever. He's got a goal here. But I think if you actually watch the game, that wasn't an assist. Like, really. That was like a ricocheted pass that landed into Garnacho's feet, and he scored. He did the hard part, but I don't think that was an assist. I think the whole assisting anyway is a bit annoying, because you can literally pass the ball to a striker outside the box. He could drop a shoulder, do a step over, do a Rabona, flip the ball over the defender's legs, literally go past 4 players, and then smash it top bins, and somehow that's an assist because you pass it to him outside the box. Like, come on. You know, I don't know. The assist, how they classify assists is all over the place. It's a bit inflated. But I am liking that Bruno is playing more disciplined. I do feel like he is taking more a response. Like, even though he's not doing it enough for me, I feel like Rosa Sosa game is a good example. I feel like he left Casemiro in the midfield by himself a little bit too often. I do feel like he's being more disciplined. He's not running everywhere. He's kind of occupying that midfield position a little bit more. I still would like him to sit there. Like, if he gets told to play as one of the 2 6s, I want him to really sit, because I do feel like we miss out a lot in like that defensive solidity in the middle of the park when he kind of goes wandering. But who knows? That might be a part of the plan. You know, Ruben Amorim might have told him that's the right way to go about doing things. I don't really know. But I'm just happy that he's not doing the madness that he was doing before. The flicks around the corner, the whatever, all this malarkey's getting on my nerves. I do think that the praise and the hype and the sucking up of him is a little bit over the top, because I feel like if we had a competent backup, he wouldn't play as often. I feel like because we don't have a backup option as that number 10, and he is obviously always fit and never injured, which you have to give him credit for, I feel like people kind of overhype his importance to the team. But I feel like if we had a decent option, like that had like just somebody that was like, I don't know, 5 years younger than him that could play that backup position, would be fine. But, you know, United, we don't like signing players. We had to fucking run our players into the ground. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but regardless, happy for it anyway. And then obviously his goal at the end was fucking fantastic. The ball outside the box. To be fair, I feel like he should score those goals more often. Those passes outside the box where he kind of runs onto it and hits it first time. I feel like he should score way more of those goals, if I'm being completely honest. But in overall, very good game. The only really sad part about the game was the Hayden Heaven injury. That was the only sad part. That kid has been balling. That kid has been balling out of control. So I was really upset to see he got injured. I've read online that it's not a serious injury, so fingers crossed he's back fairly quickly. But he's been a real breath of fresh air, real revelation. I would go as far as saying I think Hayden Evan is a better player than Chiobi Martin. Those 2 kids we got from Arsenal, I think the defender is much better. He's got a far better ceiling. No, he's got a far higher ceiling, and he looks like a far better player in my personal opinion. I'm not really the biggest fan of Chiobi Martin from what I've seen so far. He looks a little bit raw, rough around the edges. For me personally, probably still needs a lot more time to develop. But Aiden Heaven looks like he's ready right now. He's ready, and he's playing like he's ready. and I expect him to play a big part in our season next season probably, or for the team going forward. But all in all, decent performance against Leicester. Onwards and upwards, I guess. The season's kind of over anyway. It's a little bit too late, but hey, I'll take it. I'll take playing like this over playing terribly. I'll take playing like this over playing terribly and losing every fucking weekend. So, big up, big up, big up, big up. Let's continue on. Let's also talk a little bit about Playboi Carti's performance at Rolling Loud Cali. Wow. Wow. What a time that was had. So I watched it on live stream vis-a-vis my, the Action Zingers channel. If you were up and you were watching it, you know what the vibes were. I was fucking enjoying it. I think he turned up like an hour late. So I had to stay up until like, what time was it? I think I stayed up until like 4 or 5 a.m. to watch the show. And then I think it ended at about 6:30 a.m. my time here in the UK. So I was up for fucking time watching it. And my word, man, what a fantastic performance. The thing that's weird about Playboi Carti is that conventionally, I shouldn't like his performances. Because I listen to a lot of music, I go to a lot of live shows, I go to a lot of festivals, and I listen to a lot of genres of music. I know that type of performing isn't the greatest. I'd want him to perform without a backing track. I want him to perform just rapping his lyrics, right? And not just screaming. But he doesn't do that, right? So he's going to give you a backing track performance, and it's going to be a lot of screaming. But to be fair, this performance, maybe because it's the album, I feel like this performance, he rapped a lot more. He said a lot more words through the microphone pertaining to his tracks than I've ever heard him before. And I also like the inclusion of the live instrumentation. There was a guy on the keys, and there was a guy on the guitar who were adding a little bit of layers to some of the tracks. Some of the tracks were, sparse. Some of the tracks were just how you heard them on the MP3. But I like how they kind of added another little bit of texture to the show. I also love the stage design with the pickup truck that's split in half. And then he had some of his friends sitting in the other half of the truck, like Gio, the stylist girl that he kind of hangs around with. And he was jumping and standing on the other bit. And there was fire flames and scaffolding and shit. It looked really fucking cool. And I kind of matched the whole vibe. I love what he was wearing. He had like a Pro Club t-shirt with I Am Music written on the front. That kind of reminded me of the old school early 2010 era of like Young Jeezy, that kind of street team thing with like the snowman thing on the front, the length of the trousers. I love the fucking jeans, the boots. He had the beanie pulled down just over his eyebrows. That kind of reminded me of that Balenciaga show just that passed a couple of seasons ago where he had the models walking on the runway with the beanies over their eyes. Like, he fucking killed it visually with the aesthetics. And I also loved on the stage, it turned into a bit of a family affair. Usually Carti doesn't do that. Usually Carti's all about his solo shows. Maybe recently he's done the whole vamp thing, but they've been performers, right? They've been guys dressed up like him in bomber jackets and stuff jumping around. But usually he likes to perform by himself. He doesn't like to have people on the stage. But it felt like a homecoming. It felt like a celebration of sorts. It felt like a culmination of, I don't know how many years it's been since he's popped up on the scene. Since he's fucking, since the days he was with Awful Records and Father and them guys. He's really kind of blown up and become like a star. Maybe he's not a superstar just yet, because I feel like there's a lot more work to be done with like normie pop acts and stuff before he becomes a superstar. But he's definitely a star. And I think it was a really good way to sort of celebrate that whole journey by having all these friends on stage. A bunch of people. I saw like Lucas Sabat there. I saw like, who did I see? Obviously, I saw Mitch Mode, who's part of his team. I saw a bunch of people. I was watching the live stream through Kai Cenat things, like friends and, associates and stuff who were all there. The only person that wasn't there, I think, was Ian Conor. But I guess probably, maybe because of the allegations and shit, or maybe because he didn't want to go, who knows. But I saw a lot of people that were tied and kind of were part of the journey growing up. So it was pretty cool to see them all there. And at the end of the show, Carti cried, as you can see from his picture. He was shedding tears. He thanked the fans. He was blowing kisses. Like the most animated and the most personable I've seen him towards the crowd ever. Actually talking, basically saying thank you for all the love and support, all the time working in the studio. You could tell he's really appreciative. Like it really was it kind of got to him in that moment of like, okay, cool. All of the delays on this album, all of the fucking Willy Won't He's, the Narcissist tour getting cancelled, all the drama, Iggy Azalea stuff, baby, like all the stuff happening. And it kind of culminated in that one instance where he's on stage and he's literally crying on stage as he's thanking all the fans. And the crowd, I don't think were that great, personally. I thought that LA crowd were a bit shit, they're a bit stiff, they're a little bit too cool for school. But there was a section towards like the left-hand side of the stage that were going crazy. Big up those guys and girls in that section where Playboi Carti is standing on his left. there was a section of people who were going fucking nuts. But for the most part, the LA crowd a little bit, they're just standing there recording the whole way. But the vibe on the stage was immaculate. I fucking loved it. I enjoyed it. And it also, to me, represented Carti's blackest album. I think I Am Music is his most... Because I don't know, I've been watching a lot of people on YouTube kind of critiquing and breaking down Carti's album and his looks. And I never really noticed the whole white thing, personally. Maybe because I listen to so many genres. It's never been a thing to me in my head. But I think a lot of people have been kind of questioning and being upset that Carti's been going more of the white Caucasian route. But I think this album in particular really just spoke directly more to the niggas, especially because of the samples that were used and the aesthetics and the music videos and everything else going on around it. Even the jewelry and stuff, like, it's all, I think, was speaking towards him kind of leading back more towards how he kind of came up in the scene. Maybe more of the kind of like self-titled Die-Lit sort of era. And less about the whole lot of Red era. Maybe, I don't really know. But I got that feeling just because everyone's on the stage, right? A bunch of niggas on the stage, him rapping. Sometimes you can't even see him when the camera kind of pans out. There's so many people on the stage. I feel like it was a quintessential way of kind of showing you, okay, cool. It's a different sort of vibe, different sort of tonality. The show itself was fantastic. I thought all the tracks that I assumed would sound better when you heard them played did sound better when you heard them played. Bar none. And I also feel like another element that added another kind of element to the show and made it feel really, made it feel like a vibe, made it feel exciting, made it feel like it was a moment in time that you were gutted that you missed out on, was the live stream aspect of it. Cenat turned up there with that kid called Dabo, who's a big fan of Carti. He's the one that's always online crying and really getting emotional about Carti stuff and whatnot. And you could tell from how he was acting, that Dabo kid, how monumental, how big of a deal it was that he was there. He was so fucking nervous, so awkward around all these rappers that he was meeting, like Destroy Loney and fucking Ken Carson and shit. And there was a moment in the performance where Carti is rapping and he fucking spuds Cenat and fucking Dabo behind stage. I think twice. I think he spuds them twice. He shouts them out a couple of times. So that was fucking amazing for them. But as a viewer, watching the live stream of the show on the Rolling Loud channel, which is always fucking fantastic. They do really well with their live stream production. They must spend a bunch, I'm not sure how much money they put in it, but it must cost them a lot of money on top of booking the artists and everything. Crazy. So they spent a bunch of money on it and the production was fucking flawless. There was a moment where they had to pause it for about 20 minutes, the show, because there was so much pandemonium in the crowd. So even though the crowd weren't being super electric like I want them to be, they were still going crazy. So point people were fainting and getting crushed. So I think they went to avoid an Astro situation, so they just kind of paused it, let people get a breather. And obviously people were getting a breather and shit. And it was kind of cool to see during the breather, the intermission, you know, see that stream and see people, what's going on stage, what's going on, quote unquote, behind the scenes. That would kind of give it a kind of a nice little feel. And it was also good to see a stage where, like, you know, because I'm not the biggest fan of the whole like green room, back room, stage room culture in live music anyway. Even in nightclubs, I think people should always try and go on a dance floor and forget about trying to get friendly with people to go in a booth and hang out in a green room. All that stuff is GAY, lame. Stay on the dance floor. That's where you're gonna get the maximum vibe from. But if you're gonna be on the stage, be on the stage and fucking go crazy. So it was great to see everyone on the stage actually going crazy. All the quote unquote VIPs, they were fucking loving it. They were moshing, they were vibing. There was a guy, fucking Burberry Airy, big up him, the stylist guy. He was literally having an exorcism on the fucking stage. How excited and how happy he was to hear certain records played on that loud system. It was fucking phenomenal. I loved every fucking minute of that performance. And I can't wait to hear him perform that album in full when he comes to the UK. Talking about the UK, he had Skepta come out, which was an amazing co-sign he must be feeling. He got brought out by Rocky the day before and by Carti. Fucking great. He performed Toxic. And that was a fucking vibe. Skepta killed it, and then I think he spent a lot of the time standing at the back bit where there was a scaffolding, stairs thing, which was quite sick, and Carti kind of joined in there as well for a little bit. But I fucking enjoyed it. I loved every fucking minute of it. So I'm going to play a little section here from Cenat's live stream, just a random section, doesn't have to be anything, so you can get a vibe, an idea of the vibe that was happening at the show itself. The thing as well that makes it mad too, we don't get this type of footage with Carti. He's usually kind of closed in that regard. And I think this is a good thing about the streaming era. Some of these artists are a little bit too, you know, a little bit too aura heavy, a little bit too high up their own supply. They don't really like handing out access to people, especially in interviews. Maybe the only way we can get close to having those interviews is having streamers like this pop up. Maybe he's not going to go and do a desktop stream with Kai and these kind of dudes. We already see how it kind of failed with, you know, Aiden Ross and shit. But maybe we might get something better out of it when they're in their element, when they're in a place where they feel comfortable, when they're out and about on shows, because they want to show this off, because this is a great way to promote the up-and-coming tour. This is a great way to promote any up-and-coming tour they're doing, because it kind of gives a vibe, it kind of gives a feeling of what's going on when he puts on the shows, how lit the shows are, how he performs himself. So I think this is really cool. You know what's funny too? He wasn't really the biggest Carti fan anyway, you know? That's the kind of funny thing. He's kind of jumped on recently, and when he was doing the live stream of the album, he wasn't liking it when he heard it the first time. Like I wasn't too, I have to confess. But over time, especially listening to it in the gym, oh, seeing it live, oh, fucking crazy. But it's kind of sick to see how this is what great artists do. There's so many different entry points you can meet Carti at. So now you're meeting him at this entry point, you're still going to love what he does. You're going to go back and listen to Self-Titled. You're going to listen to fucking Dilate, Whole Lot of Red, and hear all different type of new things. So I fucking love it.
Bro, he gave niggas his chain. Trim set. Trim. Gonna be out there? Oh, shit.
Back up a little bit more.
Hey, yo.
Y'all ready, right? Back up a little bit. This side right here. Back up a little bit. This side right here. Make it right. Make it.
Dabo's big ass getting up there. Dabo's big ass getting up there. That was a nice touch, by the way. I don't know who told them to get Aiden Ross, to get Kai Cenat up on the stage, but that was a nice touch, whoever did decide to do that, because it did really add a different element to the stream. Oh, it was Gio. Okay, maybe it was Gio. Maybe Gio's watching on her phone. Maybe she's the one that told him to get him up there. That's fucking sick. Big up Gio. Big up Gio. Oh, sick. Look at that moment. So good. Davo getting his hug too. Look at him. He wants to die. That is so cool. Can you imagine how good that must have felt? Carti gives Kai Cenat the mic and tells him to crowd control. Could you imagine how good that must have felt to be on stage in front of that rapturous fucking crowd, telling him to back up the fuck up? And you know they know who you are. You know where you are. Fucking hell, what a fucking great moment. Fast forward a little bit. Anyway, the whole thing looked amazing. I recommend you check it out. It's available now on all your main digital streaming platforms. Playboi Carti performing at Rolling Loud Cali. Check it out. If you're not a fan of his, just to kind of get an idea of the vibe, the ambiance, what he brings to albums and shit, and why people like myself are so obsessed with this guy, why we're so obsessed with this freaking guy. Moving on. Yo, big up this gang. Big up this fucking gang. Gang guilty of over $4.8 million toilet theft. You get that? There was a toilet made by an artist that was all gold. And these fucking guys decided to rob it. But unfortunately, they got caught, which is fucking horrible and horrendous. But something I found out, only because of the stream actually, somebody told me previously, the person that made this particular piece of artwork is this guy called Maurizio Catalina or Catalan. And he's the same guy that did the fucking banana. Do you remember that banana? It's called, the work is called Comedian. The banana that I sold, I think, in Art Basel or something. Banana taped to a wall with some duct tape. The same guy that did the toilet did the banana. That's an amazing 2 for 2 pieces of artwork that went completely viral and that garnered a lot of attention, a lot of media, and made a lot of money too. That is an incredible run. But let's read the story about how these thieves got caught, unfortunately, courtesy of the BBC. A gang has been convicted over the theft of a £4.8 million toilet from the art exhibition in Blenheim Palace. The thieves smashed their way into it, ripped it out of the functional toilet hours after the glamorous launch at the Oxfordshire Statue Home in September 2019. Michael Jones was found guilty of planning the burglary. Fred Doe was convicted of conspiring to sell the gold, while Bora Gukert was cleared of the same charge. The BBC can now reveal the full criminal history of the heist gang kingpin James Sheen, who has been jailed for at least 6 times since 2005 and has led organised crime groups that made more than $5 million from fraud, theft, and money authorities have largely failed to recover. Yo, big up James Sheen, man. Real criminal things. Real criminal things. You hear that? He has made £5 million from fraud and theft. Money authorities have not been able to recover. That's how good of a thief he is, bro. Big up the criminal gangs. Big up the criminals out there. 5 men were seen on CCTV carrying out the heist, but only 2 men, Sheen and Jones, have ever been caught. 5 days after the artwork, called America, had been broken up and sold, and on the court have heard, none of the gold has been recovered. Oh, wow. So they caught the people who's robbed it, but they never actually recovered the gold or the toilet itself. It got broken into pieces and sold individually. So most likely, there is a potential that these guys have sold this toilet into pieces for this gold, of course, but then they've probably put the money somewhere else because they haven't been able to recover the money. That's fucking wild. And also a big up to the guys not fobbing or not fucking grassing or snitching on their co-defendants. They just let, they kind of kept stum, which is, better than some gangs out there. So it looks like the criminal gangs, the fraud gangs, have way more loyalty to each other than these street gangs out here, unfortunately, because only 2 people were ever convicted, not the rest of them who were actually pictured or videographed actually taking the thing. Sheen from Oxford pled guilty last year after police found his DNA at the scene, gold fragments of his clothing. He was described in court as a common denominator, having been charged with planning and transferring criminal property as well as a burglary. The 40-year-old has been previous convictions for fraud, theft, and firearm offences, was arrested 4 weeks after the heist on suspicion of planning it, but he was then released. He continued his crime spree, including a similar raid 8 months later. Rotted. So while on bail, essentially, he was still doing crime. That's a real career criminal, man. At this point, the government should just hire him for something, innit? Find some use for him because he's going to be in and out of prison for the rest of his life. This is a career criminal. Even while on bail for a very high-profile heist, he still goes out and performs other robberies. This time at the National Horse Racing Museum in Newmark, Suffolk, where he stole gold and silver trophies worth £400,000, none of which have ever been recovered. Wow. So they're able to move this stuff on so quickly, it can never get... I wonder if they move it on and it gets sold and they melt it down, or does it get sold as its piece? I wonder what happens. What's the deal there? Do they sell it as its piece, or do they melt it down? I imagine they probably melt it down, right? To like obviously use the silver or gold for other things. But it's incredible how quickly they can move it on, and it never get recovered, even during a police investigation. Fucking wild. Which makes me think there's some like nefarious things going on where people are maybe involved. Maybe it's people that's involved in the, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if there was an inside job linked to this. People that work in museums, work in these places, have some, you know, role to play because they can then maybe find buyers quickly who can kind of shift this stuff. I don't know. It seems a bit sketch. Here's a picture of Michael Jones, Borat Gukuk, and the Fred Doe person all leaving the court. The court heard that how the gang had meticulously researched the burglary at the Blenheim Palace, a UNESCO World Heritage Site at the north of Oxford. Jones, 39, from Oxford, visited the palace for a second time the day before the heist and took pictures of the golden toilet and the lock on the door and the nearby window. Later that day, the artist Mauricio Catalan hosted a launch party. A few hours after the guests left, the gang used 2 stolen cars to ram through the palace gates, smash a window, wrench the toilet from its fittings, and roll it out of the building, the court heard. The BBC has discovered they exploited a series of security flaws at the palace where there were no guards patrolling the exhibition of the grounds. Overnight, the artwork had been locked behind a thin wooden door and was not monitored by CCTV. Wow. Wow. How the fuck did they know all this? Or I guess, to be honest though, most art galleries have probably flimsy security because it's expensive to hire it. And you probably don't think someone's going to come and ram through your gallery and steal the pieces of work. You don't really think that. So most likely, most galleries have pretty shoddy security, CCTV, procedures, protocols, whatever. They probably have it a bit fluid. So if you really want to do a thing, you can probably get away with it. Wow. It continues here. External CCTV showed the gang were inside for less than 3 minutes. That's incredible. That's some Ocean's 11 type shit. Palace chief executive Dominic Hare told the BBC, "The facts speak for themselves. We took possession of these precious items and managed to lose it within a day. Because of the thieves simply drove through the gate, smashed through a window, and they picked up and they went." Police arrived after 5 minutes of the alarm sounding, but the thieves had already left. As a work of art, the toilet weighed about 216 pounds and was insured for 6 million. Gold price at the time meant a metal alone was worth 2.8 million. Wow. Wow. Here's a video of them walking out with it, I guess. Watch the toilet seat being carried out from the palace. This is them driving up to the palace itself in their car that they stole. They already ran through it, I'm arriving. Oh no, that's the getaway car, I'm assuming. One to ram, one to get away. So this is them. This is someone handing someone a tool as they run up to the palace in the dead of night, I'm assuming as well. They come out with the toilet, pieces of it. One comes out with the toilet seat and the other person comes out with the whole toilet. To be fair, if not for the DNA, they might have gotten away with it because you can't see anything of their faces. They're driving in the Golf as well, by the way. I think it might be a Mark 5 Golf. Really nice car. And they pull away in the car. So I guess one car to ram, one car to put the thing and they're gone. Fucking incredible. To be fair, I've been fascinated with this type of shit anyway from the longest time because I was obsessed for the longest time with that gang from Europe called the Pink Panthers. I'm not too sure if they're still around or still operate or still functional, but they were very well known for these high profile heists, like ones where they dress up as women, ones where they drive cars into jewelry stores, like pretty crazy shit. And a lot of the people involved were like from were from like Serbia and shit and other places around Central Europe. They allegedly spoke a bunch of different languages. There are women involved as well, like crazy people from all different parts of the world to basically pose as different people, disguises, dress up. Like, I'm obsessed with the Pink Panthers. And I think there was a time where the Pink Panthers, I think they might have, that whole story might have kind of crossed over when I was kind of getting really into reading books about like organized crime and drugs and all that malarkey and the cocaine smuggling, because all those worlds kind of intersect. And I remember reading somewhere that I think there was a book about the Pink Panthers, loosely based on that kind of crime or organized crime thief group. And I think Leonardo DiCaprio was involved in buying the rights for it because he's going to make a movie, but it didn't go anywhere. I haven't heard any developments, but I think I remember hearing Leonardo DiCaprio wanted to make a movie about the Pink Panthers, that fucking, famous organized crime group. But yeah, I love this stuff. I'm fascinated with this whole world, just how intricate it is. How often the people get away with it, because you know these guys have been in and out of prison for the majority of their lives as well, doing this type of thing, and clearly how none of the stuff ever gets recovered. That's also been a fascinating part of it as well. There's definitely a black market, you know, dark net, whatever world of all of this type of stuff that gets traded somewhere, because this stuff never gets found, ever gets found, which is fucking wild. Let's continue it. It said it's not exactly known when the gang broke the toilet into smaller pieces or whether they melted the gold themselves, but the court heard that within 2 days of the heist, she was looking for buyers, offering gold at 25,500 per kilo. Woof. Gold's a good investment, isn't it? People always talk about fucking stocks and shares, but gold is a very good investment. That shit does not lose its value. 25,500 per kilo. He contacted Fred Doe, and a series of coded messages asked if he helped to sell it for him. Doe 36 from Windsor, and also known as Fred Signs, admitted to trying to help Sheen to sell the gold, but said that he had no idea it was stolen. Jurors said heard that the pair arranged to meet the jeweler Bora Gukuk, who visited him at the shop in Hatton Gardens, of course. Of course they went to Hatton Gardens. London's famous jewelry quarter, negotiating a price for about 5 kg gold. Mr. Gukuk, 41 from West London, denied that he knew that it was stolen and said negotiations broke down when no sale took place. He was cleared of that jury. Of course, everyone's denying they know it was stolen. No one knows it was stolen. Everyone is denying everything. However, Sheen admitted to selling some of the stolen golds in Birmingham within a fortnight of the heist. A photograph found by police on his phone showed a carrier bag stuffed with cash, which was sent in WhatsApp with the message 520,000, ha 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 ha. 4 weeks later, 4 weeks after the heist on the 16th of October, Sheen was arrested. No, he didn't even get to enjoy the money, man. They got him wrapped up in 4 weeks. Oh, DNA is a fucking bitch, innit, man? Fuck. 4 weeks only, he got wrapped up already. But he was released on bail, and over the next 8 months was involved. Sorry, over the next 8 months, he was involved in at least 12 more crimes, including burglary at National Halls. Okay, cool. So he got to enjoy his money a little bit. He was out for 12 months, essentially, and still did bare crimes. He was only later charged when police confirmed his DNA on a sledgehammer found inside the palace. In a stolen car abandoned nearby, and fragments of gold were also found sometime later on clothing at his home. So they did a raid of his home. Damn. So that's why key is don't leave DNA around. Don't take the fucking gold or whatever you steal back to your own crib, because if you get arrested, if they raid your home, they're gonna find it. So you gotta find a stash house. You gotta have getaway cars. You have to burn all the stuff. You have to wash, make sure there's no traces of DNA left at the scene. Yeah, doing crime is pretty difficult to get away with it. It's pretty difficult these days. CCTV as well. God damn it. Thames Valley Police said that the forensic analysis of Sheen's clothing and DNA was complicated work, which often takes time, adding that the results was not enough evidence to charge him at the time of the arrest, and they could not continue keeping him in custody. His offending only came to end when he was recalled to prison in June 2020 for a breach of his terms of early release. He had been let out of prison on license 2017 and halfway through a 14-year sentence of his role for a shooting of 2 innocent bystanders. Ooh, okay, this is getting dark. He shot two innocent people. God damn. Sheen and his brother had chased another family through the streets of Coventry in 2009, firing a shotgun from a window of their Range Rover. Yo. A young couple on their way home from a night out were caught in a crossfire. One still has pellets lodged in his face. The victim said that they were haunted by the day more than 15 years later. Okay, these guys aren't the greatest guys, are they? I thought it just kind of, no a victimless crime, going and robbing fucking galleries and museums after dark and shit. But now they're shooting innocent bystanders. Okay, well, maybe I shouldn't look up to them too much. In a statement to the BBC, the victims and their family said that Sheen was a serious danger to the public and is never to be allowed a prison again. Well, he did. And this is the picture of him showing off the money. You know, we see people, I think in England, it's fair to say, maybe it's different in the States. I think in England, for the most part, if you see somebody carrying around a bag of cash like this, more than likely they're involved in some type of crime. It's not common. We don't really have people carrying around large wads of cash with them. Maybe unless they work in, I don't know, a market or something. But it's not really a common thing. I think in America, for some reason, you guys have a culture where people carry cash with them. They have wads of cash. You have money clips. People use money counters at home. Whereas I feel like in the UK, people don't do that. People kind of People are very quiet with their money too here in the UK. People don't really talk about the money they have. And if they do have it, they're not showing it, you know, in wads of it in bags. Despite spending about half of the 20-year sentence in prison, Sheen was personally made despite spending about half of the past 20 years in prison, Sheen has personally made around £2 million from his crimes, not including the golden toilet heist. Gangs had had made more than 55 million in profit, according to archived records accessed by the BBC. Shit, so he's a successful criminal. He's a successful criminal, for real. In the months before and after the Blemon heist, Sheen was leading another group of thieves that made more than 2.6 million by blowing up cash machines and stealing high-value farm machinery and other thefts across the southeast of England, including Newmarket museum raids. Wow. He was sentenced to 17 years of these offences in 2022. More than a year before he was charged with a Blemon heist. After the trial at Oxford Crown Court, the Sheen was personally made 900,000 from the crimes, but was ordered to pay back just £1. Oh my god. Thames Valley Police said it obtained a confiscation order for a nominal sum of £1, which allowed the parallel financial investigation to be carried out. It said that 5 years after his crime, the financial investigation was actively ongoing for a significant amount of the assets. Okay, cool. So he pays a nominal fee so they get access to his bank accounts, I'm assuming. So they can go through all that shit and get hold of his assets to, I guess, pay back whatever else he stole. Former Home Secretary David Blunkett said that Sheen was making money, making a monkey of the system. We can't allow it to continue. Making a monkey of the system is hilarious. In 22, Lord Blunkett introduced a Procedures of Crime Act, a flagship Labour policy that supposed to show the crime did not pay by giving the police and courts new powers to recover criminal assets. But the peer said that the act was failing and believed that it was because police enforcement agencies and judiciaries have not been given adequate training or funding to properly implement the law. The only thing that we can deter a prolific offender who's doing very well out of the proceedings of crime is to get these procedures back. By the way, I bet you if black people start doing this type of thing, because black people aren't that sophisticated when it comes to social type of crimes, I guarantee you, when the blacks and the browns start doing these type of crimes, they will suddenly start implementing these procedures. When the blacks and the browns start figuring out that there's money to be made for, you know, doing these type of heists and these type of burglaries, watch the change in the laws. Watch the change in the laws. But because the whites are doing it, they don't really put much attention, not trying to fast track some things, not trying to give adequate training, not trying to put something in law, whatever. But watch when the blacks and the browns get involved. Woo! It's going to be different. The only thing that would deter, following the verdicts, Sean Saunders of the Crown Prosecution Service said the raid had carefully been planned and executed, but those responsible were not being careful enough, leaving a trail of evidence in the form of forensic CCTV and phone data. While none of the gold was ever recovered, no doubt having been broken up and melted down, we are confident this prosecution has played a part in disrupting the crime and the money laundering network. Not sophisticated, though. They leave DNA. They also take the phones with them. Not sophisticated, really, when it comes to it. Figures obtained by the BBC show that Sheen's case is not insulated. Example, we asked police force in England and Wales for their top 10 biggest proceedings of crime investigations from 2024. 30 forces responded, providing a snapshot of 300 high-value cases. In total, 300 cases, criminals had made more than 300 million, but had been ordered to repay just 10% of it. So people are getting away with crime and making a lot. They just don't want to talk about it in the news, obviously. Not to fucking encourage people to kind of keep doing it. But there's people out there who are making money. Making some money with this type of shit. So, bloody hell. Free the gang. Free the gang. Free the gang. Free the gang. Continuing on. What's going on with America, man? What the fuck is going on in America? What the fuck is going on in America? Because I saw this picture of Conor McGregor at the White House posted from the official at White House Twitter account in front of a picture of Vice President J.D. Vance and President Donald Trump. And I thought to myself, what the fuck is going on in America? Wasn't this guy recently convicted of the R word? I know it was a civil case and not a criminal case, but still, that is a smudge, a cloud over someone's name that you would think the White House or this administration would want nothing to do with him and keep him at arm's length. But I guess not. I guess not. Maybe when you consider Trump's own, Trump's own situation, maybe that's the reason why he invited him over. But what a bizarre series of events to see Conor McGregor standing in front of a picture of Trump and Vance at the White House flexing. And what makes it weirder is that he also did a press conference. That wasn't enough. He didn't just go and stand in front of a picture. He also did a somewhat of a bit of a press conference speaking for the people of Ireland.
Hey, Conor, first of all, did you get into some time with President Trump? And also, I know there's some Irish immigrants in the U.S. without status. What do you think should happen to them?
The Irish immigrants?
There's some recent Irish immigrants without status.
Are we taking questions?
Taking over the podium.
Ireland and America, we are siblings. We consider America our big sibling. So it's important for Ireland to have be a peaceful, happy, prosperous country for the 40 million Irish Americans to have a place to visit, to come back to their home. So we wish for our relationship with the United States to continue, and we wish to be taken care of by the big bro. You know, the United States should look after its little bro, and that's how we feel.
How about the trade? What about, there's some trade disputes between the U.S. and the EU, and how do you think?
We wish exemption.
We actually have some stuff that we
I will
have to
say,
do right now. I appreciate
Conor is here to meet with the president. He'll be meeting with him later this afternoon. We couldn't think of a better guest to have with us on St. Patrick's Day.
You couldn't think of a better guest? Not one better person that could represent Irish people that doesn't have such a cloud over their name, that isn't going through some testing times in their life and career. You couldn't find one better Irish person to better represent those people? Not one?
Both wearing our green. This was not planned, but very festive. And as you know, I'll be having a briefing later at 1 o'clock, so we'll talk more about their meeting later. But he's going over to meet with some other administration officials. He's spending the day in Washington, D.C.
For sure.
So
I'm here to raise the issues that people of Ireland face. Yes. You know, and it'll be music to the people of Ireland's ears, because never on the main stage has the issues the people of Ireland face been spoke. You know, our government has long since abandoned the voices of the people
of Ireland. The people of Ireland.
That America is made aware of what is going on in Ireland. What is going on in Ireland is a travesty. Our government is the government of zero action with zero accountability. You know, our money is being spent on overseas issues that has nothing to do with the Irish people. The illegal immigration racket is running ravage on the country. There are rural towns in Ireland that have been overrun in one swoop, that have become a minority in one swoop. So issues need to be addressed, and the 40 million Irish Americans, as I said, need to hear this, because if not, there will be no place to come home and visit.
Incredible, isn't it? Incredible, like an Irish person talking about, especially whilst being in America and knowing how those guys got over there, you know, bemoaning illegal immigration. Immigration has gotten out of hand, says the Irishman currently in America, conducting business in America, speaking for the Irish people that live in America and Irish people around the world. I find that fucking fascinating. But hey, that's Conor McGregor doing his thing. Likely, considering his condition, considering the size of his face, considering the puffiness of his cheeks, I would say it's very unlikely we're going to see him in the octagon anytime soon, isn't it? I would say, judging from this picture of him standing in front of the pictures of Trump and Vance, that we are very unlikely to see Conor McGregor in the octagon anytime soon. The closest we're going to get is to him maybe doing some sort of bare knuckle thing, but I'm not too sure if even that's likely, because I think he's still technically contracted with the UFC, and I know the UFC doesn't let you fight in other things if you're still on the contract, so you probably have to get let go. But judging from the veracity and the vastness and the width of his face, the puffiness of his face, the size of his nose, the color of his skin, it would lead me to believe that most likely inside that suit pocket, that blazer pocket, he might have a little cheeky baggie there. There might be a little cheeky 8-ball inside of one of those pockets, inside of his blazer. Maybe, or, to be fair, you know, usually he likes to wear 3-piece suits. Inside the waistcoat of his blazer, there's usually a little coin pocket on the inside of your blazer suit jackets. So I'm sure inside that little coin pocket, there probably is a little fucking baggie there, maybe containing 1 to 2 grams of white powdery substances. Who knows what they are, but in particular, they could be adult vitamins, there could be something more nefarious, but most likely he's had a couple of those in the time that he's been over there. Most likely. He might be the first person to speak on that White House press conference pulpit while under the influence of something, allegedly. He might be one of the first people ever in the history to stand on that fucking pulpit whilst also knowing damn well he has an 8-ball burning a hole in his pocket somewhere. Fucking fantastic. Love Conor McGregor. Love the crazy fucking bastard. Talking about crazy bastards, man. Talking about crazy bastards. Jonathan Anderson exits Loewe. Unfortunately, Jonathan Anderson has called time on his time over there at Loewe. A really sad time in fashion, to be completely honest. Some people are, saying the rumors are he's going to go to Christian Dior. But regardless of where he ends up, I think him leaving Loewe is really sad. I feel like the story isn't done yet. He still has a lot more to give. And I'm really annoyed that he didn't have the opportunity to get a real good send-off. The last collection was done as a presentation type thing where the clothes were put on mannequins. He didn't have an opportunity to do a whole runway show and have people fly in for the show and have certain people model, really, center down on the fucking soundtrack and whatever it may be. Get his flowers at the end of the show, do the whole crying thing, thank everybody as he walks down the catwalk one final time. I feel like considering what he's done for Loewe, especially in modern time, because I feel like if you're really plugged into fashion, you would probably know of Loewe. But I feel like, in the contemporary world, or especially nowadays, I don't think anybody would have been that familiar with Loewe and the power of that brand, if not for Jonathan Anderson's time there. And I feel like he deserved the opportunity to really get a proper farewell, a proper goodbye, thank you for my time here. But he didn't, unfortunately, get that. So, not RIP. Godspeed to Jonathan Anderson on his next journey. This is courtesy of Vogue. After an 11-year run, Jonathan Anderson is leaving Loewe. The house said on Monday that it experienced exceptional growth under his direction, and according to Chief Executive Officer Pascal Lepoivet, or is that how you say his name? Lepoivet or Pascal, he has risen to new heights and international recognition. While reflecting on the 11 years, I've been lucky enough to be surrounded by people with imagination and skill. Anderson said in the statement, while my chapter draws to a close, Loewe story will continue for many years to come. I look on with pride, watching it continue to grow, the amazing Spanish brand I once called home. Sydney Toledo, advisor LVMH chairman, and Bernard Arnault consider Anderson to be amongst the very best. Now, it's weird because they said that he experienced exceptional growth there. I'm sure the sales were up. They kept opening more stores. I kept seeing more and more people wearing the clothes, wearing the bags especially. So I wonder why he did end up leaving, because I feel like with fashion, there's no coincidence. You don't just leave places, especially if you're doing well. Maybe there's a reshuffle going on. The same thing happened at Kering with Demna, because they left, because it looks like Demna didn't leave Balenciaga. It looks like they told him to leave and put him at fucking, at Gucci, because it's underperforming. So maybe this is the same sort of thing. Maybe they see what he done at Loewe and they want him to do it at another brand like maybe Dior, because maybe Dior's struggling at the current moment. Who fucking knows? He did actually put out a statement vis-a-vis his own Instagram page. So big up Jonathan Anderson, which I screenshotted here to read. This is Jonathan Anderson's statement from his own Instagram. He says as follows: 11 years ago, I was given the most incredible opportunity to write a chapter in a story that is now 179 years old. Since my first day at Loewe, I found the kindred spirits in the design studio and the atelier, whose talents were and still are the second to none. Thank you for sharing your craft. Over the last 11 years, I have been lucky enough to be surrounded by people with imagination, skills, tenacity, resourcefulness, and to find a way to say yes to all my wildly ambitious ideas. Looking back, I've come to realize that a brand is not built on the first show or even the first year of shows. It's built slowly, season upon season, year upon year, and on what is right for a brand. One of my proudest achievements is launching the Craft Prize. We created a platform that genuinely supports and gives visibility to vanishing crafts, young makers and old masters, and new ideas. I would like to thank the foundation team, the members of the jury, the expert panel for their time and dedication. Since day one, I envisioned creating a cultural brand. This idea relied heavily on the trust and the generosity of many artists, craftspeople, estates, foundations, and museums, galleries who contributed to their work, and I'm sincerely grateful to you all. Thank you to all of those who supported me and my vision, to the people who made every show possible, and to those who appeared in campaigns, who wrote articles, brought products, and simply liked a post. You have made this all possible. They say all good things come to an end, but I disagree. While my own chapter draws to a close, Loewe's story will continue for many years to come, and I'll look on with pride. Love, Jonathan. What a beautiful statement too, by the way. What a beautiful farewell statement. Honestly, Godspeed to Jonathan Anderson. I'm sure he's going to land on his feet. Jonathan Anderson brand is going from strength to strength, and it feels like this is more of a reshuffle than him getting booted out because the sales are not doing well. Because in fashion, I feel like it's one or either. Either you'll get booed out because the sales are not doing well, or you leave because they want you to go somewhere else because you're overperforming. They want you to sprinkle some of that stardust on a brand that's underperforming. But I did decide to put together a little compilation of some of my greatest favorites looks from Loewe over the years that Jonathan Anderson's put together, specifically for the menswear shows here. So you can kind of get an idea on some of the amazing things that he was responsible for, some of the things that went viral, some of the things that, you know, became a trend in itself, some of the things that have become mainstays in menswear and have been kind of been iterated out from time to time again. Accessories, the styling nods, some of the colors, the patterns, the shirting, like great stuff, especially for menswear. When it comes to menswear stuff, his shows were always really fun, always really well done. Even just the cut of the trousers too, right? These high water, pedal pusher-esque trousers, I feel like he kind of ushered that to be a trend, especially with some of the turn-up trousers. I think I've got a pair in my wardrobe at the moment that I haven't worn yet, and also a cardigan, a really long kind of like technicolor cardigan that I'll probably end up wearing sometime soon, maybe when I go to Berlin soon. But obviously, Jonathan Anderson fucking smashed it. Really did amazing work while out there at Loewe, not even including all the collaboration pieces he done with Uniqlo. Those bits are still fucking resonating and still fucking sitting well with people nowadays as well. These shirts, I remember, did numbers. They had the streets on lock, by the way. These fucking Poplin shirts, they had definitely the streets on lock. I remember there was a moment in time where everyone was fucking dressed head to toe in this stuff. Some of the looks, especially in the fucking looks for the collection itself. I think this wasn't even an editorial with the twins. This was actually a look that was taken from the actual collection itself on Vogue. And obviously one of my recent favorite collections as well was this. I think this is 2022. That features the bondage pants that I wanted for the longest time, and as well some of the wallabies as well that are featured on there too. The bags, the patterns, the colors, always fucking good. Never afraid to use colors as well. And I always loved his collections because, you know, you see him at the end of the shows and he looks nothing like the person that put the collections together. You know, that's a really interesting thing about Jonathan Anderson. He looks nothing like his shows. He dresses very modestly, very plainly, in basically muted colors, just basically what navies and blacks and shit. None of the colors and the extravagance that he puts into the collections. But look at this look, man. This is perfect. This is me coded all the way. The oversized sweater, the bondage trousers that are a little bit cropped, with the fucking crepe sole shoes, like so fucking good, man. Everything is so fucking great. Even this look here with the boots that are kind of stacked up towards there, they look really nice as well. And that trench coat, the oversized cardigans, the twist on proportions. This with the knitwears stitched on top of each other as well as a fucking amazing look. He has so many great moments, man. So big up Jonathan Anderson. Big up Jonathan Anderson. Godspeed. Hopefully he lands on his feet over there at Christian Dior and does some other great, amazing things going forward. This is courtesy of Modern Notoriety. UMG has decided to clap back at Drake and his pending or his ongoing lawsuit against him. This is courtesy of Modern Notoriety. It says UMG goes in on Drake in a new motion to dismiss his defamation lawsuit. Let's actually read what they actually said here. UMG going hard in at Drake. It said here, plaintiff one of the most successful recording artists of all time, lost a rap battle that he's provoked and in which he willingly participated. Instead of accepting the loss, and the unbothered rap artist he often claims to be has now sued his own record label in a misguided attempt to salve his wounds. Plaintiff's complaint is utterly without merit and should be dismissed with prejudice. Wow. So they're really laying it on thick. I don't know if this is written by an intern, if lawyers are starting to get spicy and starting to write lawsuits like Instagram captions and shit, but this is pretty wild. It continues here. It says, in the spring of 2024, the two most popular recording artists, Kendrick and Drake, engaged in a high-profile rap battle. Over the course of the approximately 2 months, they exchanged increasingly vitriolic and incendiary diss tracks, sometimes responding within hours of each other. Drake encouraged the feud. For example, when he felt that Lamar was taking too long to respond, Drake released a second record in which he goaded Lamar to continue to public rap battle. Lamar did just that, and collectively Drake and Lamar released a total of 9 records, taking aim at each other. Multiple commentators declared Lamar the winner of the battle. Not Like Us, the ultimate track in the feud, is the subject of the complaint. The recording of the music video was released by Lamar through UMG and was a massive commercial and artistic success. This record was the best-selling rap record of 2024 and won the Grammy for the record of the year. And accompanying music video won a Grammy for record for the best music video of the year. And Not Like Us won the Grammy for award of the song. Not Like Us is what else I said here? Conveys as assessed in context as it must be. Not Like Us clearly conveys a non-actionable opinion and rhetorical hyperbole, diss tracks and popular celebrated art forms centered around outrageous insults. Notably, less than 3 years ago, Drake himself signed a public petition criticizing the trend of prosecutors using artists' creative expressions against them by treating rap lyrics as literal fact. See UMG's request for judicial notice. Drake was right then and it was wrong now. The complaint, unjustified claims against UMG are now Drake's attempt to save face on an unsuccessful rap battle. So UMG's firing back. They're not taking it lying down. And obviously Drake responded to that. So the following, big up Kurku for I don't know why I'm fucking blocked by this page. They need to fucking unblock me ASAP. But big up Kurku. They do really good work in terms of, sharing hip-hop news and shit. So definitely check them out. It says Drake's legal team responds. UMG wants to pretend that this is about a rap battle in order to distract its shareholders, artists, and public from the simple truth. A greedy company is finally being held responsible for profiting from dangerous misinformation that has already resulted in multiple acts of violence. The motion is a desperate ploy by UMG to avoid accountability, but we have every confidence that this case will proceed and continue to uncover UMG's long history of endangering, abusing, and taking advantage of its artists. Wow. So Drake is standing 10 toes down in this ongoing lawsuit. It's not going to end. It's going to rumble on until the fucking very end. So strap in, strap on, strap in, strap on, strap on, strap in. Continuing on, we got some good news. Good news for sneakerheads around the world, especially people like myself. The Nike Air Max 95 Neons, the OG Neons, are coming back out again, this time with the big bubble. So they've decided to retool the Air Max 95 for the, I think the 30th anniversary or 35th anniversary, I'm not sure which one it is, of the Air Max 95. And they're dropping them now with the original big bubbles. I remember when they originally dropped with the big bubbles, if I remember correctly, they used to have the PSI marker on the outside of the bubble, like embossed in it, that you could kind of see it. And I think over time people were wearing them and it'd obviously pop. So Nike had to then reduce the sizes so they didn't pop as much. But then when they reduced the size, it kind of took away from the look of the MX 95. So it's great to see them with the increased size. I was doubting whether or not they did increase the size of the air bubble and whether they just kind of peeled back some of the kind of cover. Because if you bought MX 95 recently, you'd know the air window is really small. So I didn't know whether or not they just kind of peeled back some of the air window to expose more of the bubble. But having looked at some of closer pictures, like this picture here, courtesy of Sneaker News, it looks like they've legitimately increased the size of the actual bubble itself. So it kind of is more reflective of the OG pair. I'm not too sure if they've retooled the upper to also reflect the shape of the OG pair from back in the day. Because I remember the toe was a lot more flatter. So, and this kind of looks way flatter as well compared to the other ones, which are a lot more of a banana pointy thing going on there. But if they just retooled the midsole, I'm all for it. The MX-95 in neon is a quintessential London shoe, I feel like. A European shoe. It's up there with the 97 Bullet, which is more of the Silver Bullet, which is more of an Italian kind of, maybe Central European sort of a shoe. But I feel like the MX-95, especially in neon, is a quintessential shoe. I feel like there's a time back in the day where I think I was a Sun or somewhere had made a chart, or there was maybe a chart from the police where they said the top 5 shoes that are involved in crimes and shit, and I think they were using the footprints of the perpetrators as a marker, and I think the Air Force One and the Air Max 95 were the ones that were top of the list in terms of shoes used by criminals. So you can see how much is tied to like street culture and whatever else it may be. So I'm a big fan of the Air Max 95s. I also think they're the most versatile shoe. I also think the Air Max 95 with like camo, with like desert camo, just that's a goated combination. I remember back in the day, some of the guys in the area would wear MX-95s as like their dress up shoes to go clubbing with because they're so expensive back in the day. I think back in the day they must have been like 120, 130 or something. So guys would wear MX-95s to the clubs with like Armani jeans, Moschino jeans, Versace jeans, Armani exchange shirts and shit, like button-up shirts, Iceberg history shirts to the club. So these were a quintessential part of growing up. And when I did obviously get older, I ended up buying a bunch of pairs myself. I think the last pair I bought was the last retro. No, the retro before the last one, which might have been like 2008 or something, was the last time I had a pair. But I'm really eager to get a new pair very, very, very soon when they do drop. Unfortunately, the release is going to be very limited, according to a bunch of people, because I heard some Japanese store that's very tied to sneaker culture, I'm not really too familiar with the name of it, was the secret place where they dropped it, which is a good idea in terms of storytelling. They kind of released them secretly, by very quiet, in this very small store in Tokyo that sells loads of Nike Air Max shoes. They've also decided to bring back the old Nike Air Max box as well. That's got like the black and the grey on it as well. Blue Room, that's it, Blue Room. That's a shop. Big up Henry in the stream chat. So they dropped them at that place called Blue Room, which I think is a great way, because again, I'm not the biggest fan of the whole storytelling thing. I think the whole storytelling arc is very corny and lame and GAY in sneaker culture and shit. But I feel like that's a great way to kind of drop them. Maybe back in the day, if Foot Patrol was still around, they would have dropped them there as well to tie in it. Because I remember Foot Patrol having a big stock of like loads of good 95s back in the day as well. And maybe even Meteor Sports back in the day as well, if they're still around. And then if I'm not mistaken, they're going to be dropping in other places. According to Sneaker News, they're going to be dropping on April 4th in select cities. I'm assuming London's going to be one of them. And then it's going to get a worldwide release on the Sneakers app on the 17th. So they're going to be dropping on the 4th at select sneaker stores. And they're going to be dropping on the 17th on Sneakers app. The retail is $185 according to Sneaker News. And then I've also got, there's also, I think, a video. There's also a video here that somebody shared. Let me go into my bookmarks. There's also a video here that somebody shared of the actual shoe itself that looks fucking fantastic. Here it is right here. There it is. I think it's from Fresh Kicks. This video is fucking fantastic. It makes them look so fucking good. So they look really good in hand. They probably look better in hand than they do via the pictures. I can't wait to get them. Classic Air Max 95 neon, black midsole. You got the clear bubbles with the neon in the inside, the gray gradient on the outer, the white laces. Like can't go wrong with them. Bright yellow, bright neon. Insole, which I don't remember from the last retro I got. I think insole might have been white, and also the classic old school Air Max box as well. That's got the half black, or it's got the quarter bit of black and the grey on it as well. That you know from vintage pairs of Air Max with. So can't wait for them to drop an incredible shoe. Kind of gutted for the limited release, by the way. I would like them to get a worldwide release because I feel like they deserve them. It's kind of annoying as well because I feel like Nike have been doing their best to drop that fucking horrible Nike DNA Air Max. They're trying to make a thing that's never going to become a thing because it's a horrible shoe. They drop those in unlimited amount of colorways and they just keep flooding the market with them and forcing down our throats. But then this quintessential legendary Hall of Fame Air Max is not being made easily available. It's going to turn into some sort of game, some sort of fucking, I don't know, some sort of prize, whatever nonsense. And I just would like them to be readily available because this is kind of what made Air Max what it is. Do you know what I mean? The Air Max 95s, the Air Max 90s, Air Max 1s / Air Max 87s. But unfortunately, it's limited release only. So if you want these and you like them, especially with the reimagined increased bubble, get them because these are going to be flying out. I'm going to definitely try to double up on a pair. I'm definitely going to try to double up on a pair if I can. I've already got money saved. As soon as they're dropping, I'm going to try to double up on a pair. And I don't usually double up on shoes. But these, the Tom Sachs Mars Yards, when they eventually come out, those are going to be shoes I'm going to double up on. So make sure you get a pair if you can. Make sure you get a pair if you can because these are so fucking hard. I fucking love them. They go good with jeans, with shorts, especially with cargo. Especially now in this era of cargos and bootcut jeans, these will go fucking crazy. So I'm a big fan of Max 95. Try and get them if you can. Try and get them if you can. Talking about Air Maxes, Supreme have also going to put out Air Max and Air Max 1. Unfortunately, it's not Air Max 1 with the big window. I would have preferred it with a big window. Luckily, it's the updated silhouette, updated mold, the same thing that the pattern did as well. But I would prefer it with a big window, honestly. The big window is a classic Air Max. It's the one that Tinker Hatfield first used to sketch. I don't actually think, if I'm not mistaken, I think the big window Air Max, if I'm not mistaken, my Air Max 1 knowledge might not be correct. But I don't think that big window Air Max ever came out retail when it first dropped in 87. I think the Air Max always came out initially with that smaller window. I don't think they ever had a big window available for sale, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, big window Air Max 1s are my favorites. But in general, Air Max 1s are fucking a classic colorway, a classic shape, a classic silhouette. I definitely still say my favorite Air Maxes definitely will go, it goes probably Air Max, I'd probably go Air Max 90, I'd probably go Air Max 95, 98, and then probably Air Max 1, 87, I think. Or even maybe TLs. I've got a couple above, or even maybe 180s actually. There's a couple above, but I still like the Air Max 1. I think it's a classic silhouette. Nike did try and kill it for a while. They did turn the Air Max 1 into a dunk. It felt like they were doing way too much with it, and it kind of killed it. But over time, it's still a classic. It doesn't care. It's still fucking, I also think the Patta collab probably invigorated it. But in general, it's a classic model. And it's weird as well. I don't feel like Supreme do a lot of Air Max collabs. So it's an interesting collab for them to do. But maybe this is tied in with their expansion into Europe and shit. They're getting more exposed to different models, but I fucking love to see it. This is courtesy of Supreme. Supreme has worked with Nike on a new version of the Air Max 1 for spring 2025. The shoe features a leather upper and rubber outsole. with visible airbag in the heel, leather tongue with a brushed knit lining and co-branded footbed lace, and also a swoosh with debossed snakeskin pattern, which is pretty sick. So no mesh, no nothing on the shoe, all leather, which is a nice little change up from Air Maxes, because usually Air Maxes, especially Air Max 1s, they usually always come in some sort of form of a mesh involved in it. I love that. Oh wow, I've never seen on the Air Max. They've got the Supreme logo embossed here on the back of the heel. I've never actually seen that. I've never actually seen a brand or anybody do anything on the back of the heel of the Air Max here. So on the back of the midsole, there's Supreme written on both pairs, and on both pairs, well, on the heel where it usually says, it usually has a swoosh here or Nike logo, they've got world famous in this really nice script kind of written here, and this nice font here stitched on here on the back, which is really fucking cool. I love that it's not screen printed too, so it's not going to chip off easily. It comes in coke white, all white as well, which is fucking delicious. Oh, that's really nice. With the snakeskin swoosh is fucking brilliant. Nice left metal eye stay. Oh, the black and white pair though. Oh, the black and white and the white pair are the ones. Oh, and the purple too. Oh, okay. Black, white, and purple are the ones. Yellow, you can miss me on that. But the white, the black, and the purple are definitely the ones. And no mesh at all. Just all leather. These are gonna be these look like they're buttery smooth, by the way, but look like they're gonna crease really easily. At the front of the toe box, just underneath the laces, you've got 1994, the year that Supreme was founded, embroidered there. You've also got a nice embroidery of a Nike Air Max swoosh at the front of the toe as well, which is classic Nike Air Max 1 styling of those old kind of collaborations from back in the day, like the Atmos ones and shit and whatever else it may be. Really nice. And I also like the addition of this snakeskin swoosh. That's a really nice little nod to sneaker customizers of back in the day, of that kind of whole scene where people would kind of take off the swoosh and add lots of different exotic materials on there to kind of give it a nice bit of, you know, nice bit of judge, nice bit of life there. But I like that. It looks fucking nice. And there's also a leather outsole on the I guess on each color the outsole is matching, I guess, right? Yeah, on the black, yeah, exactly. The white pair, so on the yellow pair the outsole matches, and the purple pair the outsole matches there. Here's a closer look of the yellow pair. Oh, that yellow color is pops in it really loudly. That purple is really nice though. The purple is fucking gorgeous. But definitely the winner is the black and whites. The black and white's definitely the winner. Maybe if I was being picky, I would have maybe wanted the whites to have black stitching. That maybe would have worked better there. So to have black stitching here where it says world famous. But I think over time, once you wear them enough, these are gonna fade, especially the grease from your hands and shit. So they'll end up getting colored somewhere or the other. You end up coloring them in somewhere or the other as well. And there's a clear air bubble on all of them. No colored air bubbles, just completely clear. It looks like, especially on the purple pair. Is it colored? No, it's completely clear. Yeah, I really like these, man. They're really fucking good. And also there's a different branding as well on the tongue. You've got this woven badge here that says Supreme box logo here at the bottom with Nike Air Max as well, which is a nice little addition. And there's also Supreme Nike written on the insole as well. And a nice, is that velvet? Yeah, it's a velvet lining, isn't it? Ooh, that's nice. Velvet or something lining there, so they're gonna be very comfortable, very nice to slip in there if you're gonna wear them without socks as well. So that's nice, which I wouldn't recommend because your feet are gonna stink up. But yeah, I really like these, man. Really fucking like these. Dropping this Thursday. I think they're also dropping alongside the Nike shoot collection as well, right? If I'm not mistaken. So I think there's a matching clothing too with it, kind of matching. There's stuff they're doing as well in terms of the clothing that's dropping on the same day. They've got bomber jackets, which is really nice. Which is a black bomber jacket with a massive Nike sign on the back. No crazy Supreme logos as well, which I really do like. And a white piping as well on the front and the back of the jacket. The tracksuit's also really nice too in the purple. That matches the Air Maxes. Oh, look at that. He looks really nice in the all white pair with the purple trackie. The purple trackies kind of give me Cortez vibes as well, which I'm not mad at. There's a nice hood. Is there hoodies connection? I'm not too sure. And there's also a matching black tracksuit tear. It comes, okay. Is that a matching black or matching purple? Which does it say? Okay, I think it's the same one. I think the purple is really nice because it's got these grey little portions as well. These grey segments as well. These grey panels. Oh, look at the pocket here in the back. That's a really nice little addition there. There's a nice little back pocket here that says world famous on the top. And then there's a big Nike logo here on the back of the jacket too. That looks really fucking cool. I like that. Nice jacket. The jacket in black is awesome. It comes in yellow too with a matching hat. Yeah, this is nice. And there's also a rugby as well. A long sleeve rugby polo that also is included. And there's also a knit vest. A knit vest is also not bad. The knit vest is also not too shabby, and a matching hoodie that looks like a Nike Tech fleece, but it's not a Nike Tech fleece. That's also kind of all a side bag as well. It's kind of a good collection, isn't it? It's kind of all encompassing: hoodies, tracksuits, side bags, varsity bomber jacket type things that are gonna do numbers in the streets. I'm assuming. I think that piping is free, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. Not really too sure. I like the little addition of that. I like that little swoosh here actually in the front. That little embroidered swoosh on the front's really nice. The world famous on the sleeve here reminds me of an old Supreme varsity jacket that I used to have actually, that had world famous written on the sleeve there. That's a nice little addition. I'm not too mad at that. The tracksuit, the purple one is really nice. The paneling is really nice on here. I like this paneling here. Kind of again reminds me a bit of Cortez. Oh, it's mesh as well. That's that's good for perspiration. So there's a nice bit of breathability there going on with that mesh little lining there. Look, it looks like the cut of it looks like a vintage one, isn't it? I wonder if they took it. The cut of it definitely looks like a vintage one, and it's definitely, and this is an old logo as well with that kind of what you call it, semicircle all around the swoosh itself. Again, mesh paneling at the back, the world famous embroidery above the pocket there. It also comes in yellow. Yellow tracks is also kind of hard, and in black as well. And all this is, and of course matching track pants too. I love that they've got elasticated bottoms, but you can also make them flat if you want. I think it's got a hidden zip, I think, somewhere here as well. There's also a long sleeve rugby polo with stripes on it too. That's also nice. Some big stripes, some small stripes, and the swooshy on the front. It's available in the white and purple, white and red. Unfortunately, there's not a red pair of the shoe. I think that would be pretty hard. There's also white and black, not on white yellow. So okay, that's interesting choice there. And there's also world famous on the back of the polo collar. There's also this sleeveless knitwear thing, which is I'm not really the biggest fan of it. This V-neck sleeveless knit top thing, not really for me. But this hoodie is really nice, especially in the grey. I love the little hit there. Very subtle branding with a Supreme little pull tab here right on the side. I love that it's got two zips on either ends. Nice bit of paneling there. This is a really nice hoodie, to be fair. This is a really nice grey hoodie, and it's also got a, what's that? Is that Air Max written at the bottom there? That's pretty cool. It's got Air Max written there right at the bottom there. I think that might be also embroidered too. And there's also a world famous embroidered right on the top of the hood. Oh no, Supreme written on the top of the hood, sorry. Which is also a nice little touch. It also comes in red and black and white, and it also comes in matching sweatpants with zips on the pockets, which is also great. I feel like sweatpants don't have enough zips on the pockets these days. But if you're gonna be wearing them day in, day out, you don't want to lose your shit. So it's good to have a pockets with zips on it, especially the two front ones. There's also a nice little side bag available for those of you who want to carry a strap around or your vapes. And there's also a matching running hat as well. It looks pretty sick. So yeah, all in all, really good shit. As you can see, they're available from the 20th. The same thing as available as the shoes themselves. So yeah, all that shopping on the same day. The shoes and the apparel itself, courtesy of Supreme. So big up them. Big up them. Cool. Okie dokie. That has been the Cenat and Dabo Show episode number 887. Thank you so much for tuning in. A little quick short one today just to kind of get over those quick bits of news, specifically the Carti stuff. If you haven't checked it out, please check out the album. It's fucking fantastic. Obviously for my tune today, I'm going to be playing an album playing a track from the album. This one's going to be the collaboration between him and Skepta called Toxic, available now on iMusic. So that'll be my outgoing song for those of you listening to the podcast app through the podcast app as well. Please make sure you leave me a 5-star review on all the applications you're using it on as well, and sharing all that malarkey. Links and everything will be found in the description after I finished. And for those of you watching, timestamps will be added later on, and also random shows happening later on today as well. So thank you for tuning in. It's been a pleasure to have your company as per usual. If it's your first time as well tuning in, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Thanks, take care, peace.